Hello, everyone. Today we are in conversation with Abhilash Purushottam, General Manager and Vice President for Asia for Rubrik. Abhilash hails from Bangalore and brings over a decade of experience, including executive positions at Cisco, CA Technologies, and App Dynamics. In his previous role, he worked as Regional Vice President, Southeast Asia, Greater China, Korea, and India for CISC, App Dynamics, and prior to that, he was Vice President of APJ at CA Technologies. So today, he'll throw more light on the data security landscape in India and the trends that we can witness in the days to come. So without further ado, let's get into a quick chat with Mr. Abhilash. Abhilash, hi. First up, we'd like to know how has the data security landscape really evolved in the last few years, and what are some of the recent trends organizations are experiencing when it comes to data security?
Hi, nice to chat with all of you. Great to be back here. I think we live in a world where cyber attacks are almost inevitable. Data is like oil today for organizations. It's one of the most important assets for any organization. We recently did a survey with a lot of global IT and security leaders, and it was found that in 2022, an average of 52 attacks was faced by global organization, which means the large enterprise organization has always faced one attack per week last week, which means that there is really only one truth, which is cyber attacks are inevitable. They will happen. Ransomware, cyber extortion, they are the biggest threat to global economy. Double extortion ransomware attacks are also continuing to pick up speed. And what we find is businesses are not as prepared as they think. Right? Infrastructure security alone is not sufficient today because we must now prioritize data security and become more cyber resilient to overcome cyber attacks like ransomware. Ransom payments are also not the answers. One of our studies show us that 72% of the organizations who have reported paying the ransom, of which only 16% are able to recover their data with the decryption tools. So clearly, ransom payments are not the answer. And we've also found out, interestingly, for data security, data backups are the hunting ground for cyber criminals. Legacy data backups, which used to be the last line of defense, but it is failing fast. 93% of customers that we surveyed are encountering significant issues with their backup solutions. 9 out of 10 organizations reported that cyber attacks actually went after the backup, and 3 out of 4 of those attempts were successful. Legacy backups are an attractive target because you see how backup industry has evolved, right? They were built for natural disasters and cyber attacks. They were built for natural disasters, not for cyber attacks. They were built for low frequency, high impact events. But we live in a world where cyber resilience is critical. And doing data security is different to just securing your perimeter. And data security itself is becoming increasingly complex because of the data sets that are required to be secured are growing rapidly. We have seen customers go from on-prem to hybrid cloud to private cloud to SaaS applications, etc. But if you look at it, less than half of IT and security leaders have developed or reviewed an incident response plan. Less than half have even tested their backup and recovery plan for cybersecurity when it comes to data. The most crucial aspect for data security is to achieve cyber resilience, so that they have to realize, as businesses have to realize, that cyber attacks will happen, which is why they need to put in place strategies so that they can recover from cyber attacks. Prevention itself is not going to be enough in the coming days.
Really, a lot of action is happening within the data security space, and just preventing them is not the answer, right? So, what are some of the risks that we can, enterprises can rather expect in the absence of a data security plan or a strategy, so to say?
Actually, if you look at data security strategy, a lot of people are investing heavily on what we call prevention side, right? Recent investigation of this data, if you look at it, like I said earlier, in Asia Pacific itself, where we are, right, 80% of the organizations had ransomware attacks in the last 3 years, but only 30% of them are disclosing the incident. Asia, specifically Southeast Asia and India, was the most attacked region last year in the world, and ransomware was the number one attack type. Right? As a vector, ransomware is a largely financial motivated data security attack vector, right? And regardless of the size, every business holds confidential, sensitive data like PII, trade secret, proprietary information, which makes them viable targets. Usually, data security thefts and data security attackers target this critical infrastructure, whether it is nation state actors or whether it is privately motivated financial sector actors. They target the critical infrastructure to gain access to high value data so that they can cause disruptions. The real world implications of some of these and the ramifications of these attacks are much beyond what you can see from an individual company. What we see across the board is that more and more organizations are assuming what I call assumed breach security posture, which means that the world before, where you thought you were safe behind a perimeter, you are safe behind a firewall, is no longer true. Even if you are behind the firewall, you have to be assumed breach. You have to make sure that you still are protecting every access to the data. You have to make sure that you are still be able to answer some of the critical questions from the board, from the CXOs, from the investors when there is an attack. Is your data protected? This is what boards and executives usually ask. Is your data protected? When an attack happens, what is the blast radius? How much of my data is affected? Is my on-prem data affected? Is my cloud data affected? Is everything affected, etc.? What data is impacted or exfiltrated? And how much of that exfiltrated data is sensitive? How much of data is just file data? How much of that is your and my personal data or Aadhaar data or bank information? And most importantly, CXOs and board today are concerned with, do you have a clean copy that you can recover back and come back to business? Do you know what you're recovering does not reinfect you so that you get subjected to what we call double extortion? These are some of the critical challenges that customers today face.
Right, absolutely. So, one final question. Rubrik is into data security, and you're working extensively in that space. So, how is it that, Rubrik data security products and solutions are really different from what others are offering in the market? And what is your core strength?
So, like I said earlier, right, businesses should consider today that implementing a zero trust platform where access is restricted, verified, and granted only on a need-to-know basis is important for data security. This is implemented across the world for perimeter security. You look at all the infrastructure security solutions that users and customers are implementing. They're all zero trust platforms, whether it is for network security, perimeter security, application security, access security, all of that. But perimeter security is not good enough. Prevention is not good enough. You need to have a data platform. You need to have a data backup platform, data security platform that is working on zero trust architecture. And that's what Rubrik offers. Rubrik Security Cloud is one of those platforms that enables you to offer a zero trust data backup platform. But not just across on-prem, it seamlessly protects data in cloud, protects data across cloud providers, but also across on-prem and hybrid cloud situations. Now, you need to also continuously monitor for data risk, such as ransomware, such as sensitive data exposure, and make sure that you have a solution for wartime and peacetime. At peacetime, Rubrik enables you to look at your data, look at identify IOCs, identified areas of compromise, identities of compromises, and look at where there is data, any data theft attempt that is happening in peacetime, and continuously look at user access of which users are accessing your sensitive data. Where is your sensitive data? Classification of sensitive data by incrementally taking backup. In wartime, when you're attacked, Rubrik gives you a zero trust platform so that your data is secure, so that your ransomware attackers cannot capture your backup data. They don't even realize where the data is. They get no access to data. They can't encrypt your data so that you can answer those critical questions that I said earlier. They can clearly go back to board and say, my data is protected. My blast radius is only to so many applications are good. Whether my sensitive data is exfiltrated or not. And most importantly, the clean copy of the backup that I can recover from, and you can at least protect your crown jewels and go back to business. We can also enable organizations to automate the remediation and test the remediation in peacetime so that you're not blind. We can simulate ransomware attacks so that customers and organizations can say, where is it that those vulnerabilities exist in their organization? So that way, you have the peace of mind while doing the basic legacy job of data backup. Data backup was not implemented for cybersecurity. It was not invented for cybersecurity. It was invented for high impact, low frequency events, which is like natural disaster or fire or something. Today, that technology can be used to fight cybersecurity incidents.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Abhilash. Digital Tech Media Team is really thankful to you for your time and your patience. We'd love to chat with you sometime later too. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure talking to you guys. Thank you.
Yeah.